Hello, new commentary video. I mean, this isn't a commentary, but my voice, I can talk. After being dead with COVID for a week, yeah, literally 4 weeks, I wasn't in college or anything, and I come record videos because my throat was fucking dead. Amongst other things, I was just a corpse for a week. But yeah, I'm actually okay. I feel fine now. So something happened last week, and I just wait for the boost course pass, including the best Mario Kart character, Birdo, and because of that, Wave 4 is definitely my favorite wave. But even without Birdo, I think it's my favorite wave with the tracks. And I don't think that's recency bias, because whenever the other waves would come out, I didn't have a preference. I don't have a preference for waves 1, 2, and 3. I think they're all very good. They have a great selection. Wave 4, there's just something about it that's a step above to me. And yeah, maybe it is because of Birdo and like the other great balancing updates and stuff. Like, it is a crazy time for Mario Kart Deluxe. Value Wiggler meta is dead. You're brain dead if you use that combo online. It is not optimal. And then you got the time trials. The time trials, you got fucking Birdo world records, Yoshi world records. There was one Yoshi world record before. Birdo shares Yoshi stats. Birdo's more popular right now because Birdo's newer. Baby Mario and Drybird's missing world records. That makes Baby Luigi also optimal for that. I think the other babies are also optimal. I think they were before for certain time trials. You've also got the Rosalina going on online. It's fucking crazy. There's a lot of creativity with the combos, which, you know, when you got a kart customizer, that's kind of the point. So finally, players are exploring that, because there's actually a ton of customization. There's like 51, I think, like karts, and then you've got like 20 Summit tires, 15 gliders. There's like a fucking absurd amount of combos you can make. So yeah, that's exciting. But today we're looking at tracks. We're ranking the DLC tracks. Now, I have already ranked, well, I've ranked literally every track and every retro track. That was the whole series. Then after wave 3, I ranked year 1 at the Boost Course Pass, and I was expecting to do year 2 at the end of this year. But there's some things that I think we need to go over again with this list. And also, I love wave 4, and I want to talk about it now. So, yeah, let's fucking do it. And sorry for the coughing. My throat is not 100%, but it's okay. You know, I got wave 4 here. Let's see it. I actually changed the list. I'm on this one actually as every track, because I couldn't find the old one, and the old one I was using probably isn't updated. But this one keeps up to date, which is cool. But yeah, wave 4, the Fruit Cup, you have Amsterdam Drift, Riverside Park, DK Summit, aka DK Snowballs Cross in Europe, Yoshi's Island, and then the Boomerang Cup, it has Bangkok Rush, Mario Circuit, the DS one, Waluigi Stadium, and Singapore Speedway. A very solid selection, I must say. Now, when I saw the trailer, it was the only time I was critical of the choices, and it might just be because we're getting into the latter half, so there's a lot less spots, there's a lot less slots for tracks, so stuff becomes more questionable as to why it's chosen. For example, DS Mario Circuit being the obvious one sticks out like a sore thumb. I don't know why it was chosen. I have like very positive things to say about the track. I actually really fucking like it. But I don't know why it's here. I'm really not sure. Airship Fortress was a free pick. It's so fucking weird. It's definitely the most questionable pick of DLC. I'd argue Toadstick is also questionable, but that was wave 1. It was the first wave. It's fine. But yeah, I don't know. It's strange. I would think I'd find it awesome if like wave 6 had a 3 nitro tracks. We had one nitro track, and then You know, you get the two, you get an extra 3DS track, an extra DS track, because I feel they do deserve the extra track slots. I mean, 3DS especially, because it only has 7 tracks overall compared to, like, for example, DS and GameCube, they have 8. I think 3DS should at least have the same amount. I get why there's less in 3DS tracks in this DLC, because the base game already has a very good 3DS track selection. There are only 3 tracks, and one of them is being Toad Circuit. I've never understood that. That was always something I found puzzling. And now I feel like the unlisted prefix slots are just all nitros, because that information hasn't been conflicted with it all yet. And it's been like 3 waves now. So, pretty sure we're just getting 3 new tracks again in wave 6. Which the new tracks have been pretty fucking good. I can't complain. I even like the ice cream track that the ice cream track is in. Great tier. You know, so I do like them. I do like these tracks. However, I just think from a logical standpoint, there should be more DS and 3DS reps. But that's just me. Another thing with the selection is we have 3 city tracks per wave now, and that's going to become a thing for Wave 5. Wave 5 seemingly is going to have 2 brand new cities, which can make that quite exciting. City tracks I haven't seen before, because right now the only city tracks in tour that aren't in 8 Deluxe are Vancouver. What the fuck is it called? Vancouver Velocity, yes. That's probably only in Wave 6. It's like winter. So, yeah, that makes sense to me. And then LA Laps is seemingly being pushed back to Wave 5 for a summer theme. And also, Wave 6 doesn't have 3 city tracks. It has 3 notch tracks and it has 2 city tracks. That's what it seems to be, at least. Which, yeah, I don't understand that. You know, they must like really have some good new city tracks we haven't seen yet cooking. Because I don't know why you would choose to have 2 city tracks as be cup enders, because we got 1 here for Wave 4, 1 for Wave 5. And I'm sure they're going to be good tracks, but we already have a lot of city tracks starting the cups that I think it's unnecessary here. And when I like play through like the 8 tracks, you know, I play with Aaron or my mum or whatever. You know, you play the new tracks, right, and you go and order whatever. And like half of this is new stuff, and 3/4 of that new stuff is city tracks. And I don't like that. I think it should be just spread out for 1 at the start of each cup. I get that, but having an extra 2, you know, just unnecessary to me. But in the grand scheme of things, it's very minor, you know. And the city tracks this wave are all good. It's just like whoa. There's quite a lot here. I just think ranking these city tracks hard because they do start to blend together. To be honest, the 3 new ones, I have very positive things to say. This wave by far has the best city tracks. I think only Sydney Sprint of the ones we've seen beforehand comes close. Oh, actually, there's Berlin Byways. We need to talk about Berlin Byways. I think Berlin Byways gets an update. It needs an update to where I have landed it. And I'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, otherwise I have no complaints with the logistics behind the selection. And again, I still think that the tracks that are provided are always good regardless. There isn't a track I dislike in this DLC. In the entire game, I don't think there's any tracks I hate. There's like a couple mid ones, and then like beyond that is solid tier, you know. So yes, onto the ranking. You know, I just had a lot to say because there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Berlin Byways, in the update, when you do have the womp thing, there used to be like some shitty invisible wall thing, and I believe I brought this up in my original ranking, and how a lot of time when you trick off the womp, you'll just get hit by this wall, and it's just really unsatisfying because it's just an invisible barrier that's blatant. You hit it half the time you do the fucking thing, and the wumps aren't as important as I thought they'd be. When I saw a trailer, I was like, oh my god, little wumps making their debut here, and they're part of the Berlin Wall. That's so fucking funny. That's so clever. And the track was, and then I was like, oh, the track, that was my most exciting part. But it's just some shitty little bit at the start of lap 3 that is inconsequential. Because there's no point tricking off him, because you're usually at an angle where you're kind of fucked. You just hit the wall. Now, fortunately, the Wave 4 update changed this. There's no invisible wall anymore. Now, this means in terms of like 150cc and lower, you're just going to fall into the river now. But at least it's more immersive. And also, I still think, because the wall doesn't like immediately stop you, I do believe you can angle yourself to go over the gaff bit and then land on it, because it's it's like a curve out and then it goes to the left. If you race on track, you know what I mean. It's quite hard to describe. What's also hard to describe is this shortcut in 200cc where if you use a mushroom when you trick off the wump, you can just go flying and you land on like the other side of the bridge or whatever. And it's a crazy shortcut. It's really cool. It's one of the coolest shortcuts in the game, and I think it's really awesome how they updated the track to give it a shortcut. It improves the track so much for me. It makes this section that was once honestly disappointing to me, and it's turned me around on this track. I do very much enjoy it now. I do think it definitely exceeds London Loop now. I think it might go higher though, but I don't know. But I'll put it in grey above London Loop here. But I do think it's really good. Under the Wave 4 tracks, we do have another city track, Amsterdam Drift. Now, hot take, and this was not a take I was expecting to have. I was really not expecting this for what was the one city track that we weren't anticipating. You know, I even saw people like, hey, I'm free in each wave, but just don't have Amsterdam. And I'm like, hey, hold on. These could all be good. And yeah, they're all good. It's my favorite. It's probably my favorite city track. I'm tempted to put it in the best. I really am. I think it's so good. It's also a really cool glider section, and you're in like this little area. You go past some windmills, and it's just so reminiscent of like other tracks that I find quite charming. You know, like 3DS Daisy Hills with the windmills, and also it's kind of like Moo Farms with the fences and all the. And you got like the off-road stuff, which there wasn't off-road Moo Farm. Moo Farm is a shit track. Don't get me wrong, but I just find it cute. They have the Mighty Moles, which their mound actually stays in place this time, which makes sense for the section. And you have this bridge, and straight away there's this really awesome gap cut where you can use a mushroom and you can jump over the gap in the river. And this is actually possible in like 150cc, which I thought it wasn't. And there's so many ways to go about doing that, because there's so much off-road and there's so many like directions you can come at, and it is actually faster. So I really like that section. And then you go back to the city and there's like this trolley thing, and you got like the boost panels, and it's really cool. The second lap you have the underwater section, which I really like. That's when I realized this was the track that had that underwater section I played in Tour, that I really liked. And I was like, oh fuck, this is going to be a pretty good track for me. I think underwater sections in Mario Kart tracks are super underrated. And I think it's really cool to see a city track incorporate it for like a whole lap pretty much. And it's really cool because you have like these pipes, I guess, that like push air, so which obviously you can trick off of, like in like Piranha Plant Pipeway or whatever, tracks like that. So you can do some crazy stuff, like there's a little boat for one bit that you can trick off the pipes, and it blows you up out the water, and you land on a little boat, and I think you get like an item box there. like just really neat little cool things like that. And then you come out there, the river, and there's some like going backwards and stuff. You have to go backwards. You go back in there during that period, just to drive through this big tunnel that leads to this really cool looking like tulip area with like these flower beds of tulips that are like really vibrant colours. I really like it. There's also the big piranha plants that bite you, which are always fun. And you even got like some off-road patches again. And then it takes you to this little tunnel thing. If you go to the side, you can get double boxes. Then you know like this little fruit market thing, which again reminiscent of Shy Guy Bazaar and Delfino Square, which Bangkok Rush also has one. Which is why I never agreed with Delfino Square being the DS track for this wave. It just blends in with other city tracks. As much as I like that track. Airship Fortress, I don't know why it's not in this wave though. But if we'll get to the DS track, we will. But yeah, you come around and after that you just get like a couple of turns. You're at the finish line. Really fucking good track. The city tracks are crazy, obviously, because of the lap changing stuff. I never know what the fuck's going on when I first racing them. A lot of them don't feel too standard though, because, and I'm one of them, I don't particularly care for the Tour City themes. I'm much more interested in like actual Mario Universe stuff. I'm not a geography guy. I don't care about like the real like stuff. For the most part, I think there's some really awesome stuff. It's really cool landmarks. I don't know. I know fuck all about Amsterdam now, so that's all right. I just think the Amsterdam track is really good. The only thing I don't like is the music, and that's not even like the actual like background music. It's just a weird fucking singing thing. Weird. Get it out. I don't like it. But overall, it's a very, very great track, and I do think it just about slips into the best for me, which is a very it's a very spicy take from me. But I most especially think Rock Rock Mountain is fucking S tier. So yeah, deal with it. It's my ranking. We move on. The GBA Riverside Park, the GBA track of the wave, and this is probably the best one. Maybe, I don't know. I think Boo Lake was the weakest, which I feel bad for saying. I think it's a tier below, and I feel bad for saying that because it has a really cool shortcut thing. It did exactly what I wanted with the theme. I just wanted a boardwalk, like spooky boardwalk track rep in the game, and they delivered. And they chose an underrated one with Boo Lake. And they did the theme I want where you actually have a lake now and you have an underwater bit. And you can have like an off-road shortcut thing. And it looks great. You can have like an anti-gravity bit. But the layout's just a bit simple and a bit short. And Riverside Park, again, visually beautiful. And there's some cool stuff like the walking piranha plants, which are called patuis, I believe, which are just really fun. It's a very likable track aesthetically, but again, it's quite simple in layout. It has more off-road stuff though, so a lot more shortcut potential, like the mud patch and just some grassy bits. So yeah, I think it goes to great tier. I think it joins the Sky Garden Snowland Talk. I might put it at the back. I think if I do think it's up there with these ones, and I think Food Lake's also great. I just think it's missing something that these three have, and I don't know what it is. I really don't know. Riverside Park, you go up like that little cave, and you come out at the river, and you land on the bridge to go into the next half. That is just really cool, even if it's quite short. I do very much enjoy it. The Patui plants add a lot. They're not in the tour version. Also, this got a massive graphics update compared to the tour version. And I do like the tour graphics. And I like the graphics of all the tracks in this DLC. So graphics are never an issue for me. I think the art style is superior to the base game version because I think it's more reminiscent of actual Mario Kart. I think the cartoony art style fits the franchise better. And it's more vibrant. And yeah, the trees, they carry bananas and carry mushrooms. I think the trailer was taking the piss a bit, suggesting that it's actually worthwhile to hit them and then take the mushroom, because the mushrooms get flown around everywhere. There's no real strategy you can take with hitting them. It's too precise to actually be recreated consistently in actual races. But because so many, you actually get a lot of items dropped around, so you just find random mushrooms and shit. Particularly if like a lightning hits or whatever. So I do think it adds a lot. And also do kind of get in the way sometimes. I just find them really cute. They're very charming. I like how they all like collectively are following you. They're going the same direction as you because they go up like the cave mountain thing, and they just jump down the river, and you see them get washed along the river, and they come up on these rocks, and they just repeat the cycle. It's so cute. So yeah, I do think it deserves its spot in great tier. I do think it continues to be joining the really great GBA remakes. But I don't know if I could put it higher at the moment. But yeah, it's definitely great. Next is DK Summit. Snowball's Cross for me, but Summit is my preferred name for it. Snowball's Cross is just too lengthy. And this is a perfect track for Deluxe. I was never a big fan of this track. Like, it's never been a fan favorite of mine for like Wii tracks. I've never particularly cared for it. I was always more of a DK Pass person. Because Mario Kart DS is better. And two, I did just find it to be a better track. I like the layout more. I like the star arcs. I like the glider ramp in 3DS. But Summit with this remake is definitely superior, and it was definitely the better pick because DS had less track slots. Not that they used the last slot well with the Mario circuit, but regardless, I'm glad we got DK Summit because the half pipes in particular, they're very fun in 8 Deluxe, and they're a very standout gimmick because they're pretty much brand new to the game. Starting Wave 3, where there were a couple. There's one in Maple Trio and one in Merry Mountain. The Merry Mountain one's pretty huge, but again, there wasn't much. And this wave just decides, okay, you have a taste of the half pipes. Now we're going to give you the 2 tracks that are actually like heavily half pipe focused. Those being Waluigi Stadium and DK Summit, and I think they both use them phenomenally. DK Summit especially, they're so fun. And there's such crazy shit you can do with them. And again, it's not something I was crazy about before. It was never a feature that I was like, oh, I really need it back. But with the DLC, bringing it back, it's like, oh, that's awesome. And it's really fun on these tracks. And the gap cuts, both of them, the ones here, and it's even easier to do than the Wii version. Like, this is even more broken than the Wii version. You can, like, fucking... half the time I go too long when I do the cut and I end up like going out of bounds. It's fucking crazy. The half pipes go bonkers sometimes. It's just an insane track. I love the Shy Guys and the snowboards. I just find that really charming. I thought that was actually a new thing for Tour, but I seen footage of the Wii version, and they are there in the Wii version. Again, never particularly cared about it in Wii, so it never stood out to me. But yeah, this is just a perfect remake. It just does everything right. What it changes is for the better, like getting rid of the Mario statue to have the DK statue. Tor made it a stone statue, but this brings it back to being a wooden statue, like how it was a wooden Mario statue in Wii. Like, there's some crazy attention to detail, and you know he would like fucking nitpick the fuck out of that if they kept it as stone. Like, actually the materials aren't right. Track ruined. But yeah, no, they were consistent with it, and I like that. I appreciate it. They also wrote like the fucking Jumbotron thing again, so I didn't realize wasn't in the tour version, but it's here now, and it's all really cool because you can see yourself driving down the thing. It's great. It's such a good fucking track, and I knew it would be. Even as someone who it's not a fan favorite track of mine. None of these the tracks in DLC, like I said, were massive fan favorites of mine beforehand, but they're all so good. And I think DK Summit is probably the best here, and probably one of the best in the game. That's why I'm putting it so high up. I think, like Mushroom Gorge, it just plays phenomenally to Wii's strengths. To take Deluxe's strengths, I mean. But it's also familiar to the Wii version. It's a faithful recreation, and it just plays so well. So I do think it has to go up. I don't even... We need to have a talk about this track being at the top. Because it's kind of obligatory for just being such good theming. But what I'd rather race on is probably the free back here, maybe even Shroom Ridge. I'd probably rather race on. So I don't know. We'll look into that. The final track of the Fruit Cup is Yoshi's Island, and it's going straight to the top. It just is. I talk about how 3DS Rain Road is definitely the best track for theming. Yoshi's Island is now the best track for theming, definitely. It's just so good. You have like all the fucking OG music and stuff, and now my attachment to the Yoshi series is quite casual, but I've been around for many years because I had the DS game and I have the Switch game, Yoshi's Crafted World, which this is more of Yoshi's Island, obviously, rather than Crafted World. So again, it's more of a homage to the original game, which I played a bit on the SNES game collection on Switch online. It's the only one I've played, and it's aged very well. I did quite enjoy it. I don't think I got very far. I did like the first world-ish. And yeah, it's a good game. And having played that close before playing this track, I know so many references of all the enemies, all the background stuff, just the areas. It's so great. You got like Pooch in the background, you got fucking stilt guys, you got fucking petal guys, you've got crabs just more, because why the fuck not? And they do get in the way, like they're genuinely solid obstacles that do have quite an impact a lot of time. Obviously, the more I play a track, the better I'll be at tackling them, but they are actual obstacles. But it's so good because you start off user turns, you go to the underwater bit, also that piranha plant that just hangs downwards is also a reference to the games. That's something they did in the games. I don't want to bite you. It's great. There's so many references. I can't cover them all. I can't say them all. There's just so many. It's so good. The music is phenomenal. And that also goes to like the little coin jingle that is also from the Yoshi's Island game. The coins they changed to be like the ones in the game with the Yoshi face on them, which again is so cool. They haven't done that since the Wii U DLC with the the Animal Crossing homage track in the Hyrule Circuit, the Zelda track, you know. So it's really cool to see it here, and for like an actual Mario universe series. It's so good. And it's not just theming. I do think this is a really solid track to race on, because you have the underwater section, you have the off-road shortcuts, you have like the snowy bit going up to a glider ramp that takes you to the clouds. It has like every fucking biome. You have the glider stuff, you know, you go in the clouds and you take it up on the volcano, it erupts whenever you use the glider, which again is so cool to see visually. I always make sure to look behind me to see the volcano erupt. That is a habit of mine now. And then, this is like the craziest part, when you're doing the glider thing, you need to try and hit the question mark cloud to summon like the red bridge, like you do in the games. You get this platform. That is a lot faster than if you just land on the regular ground. Albeit, if you land on the regular ground, you can use an off-road shortcut to save time regardless. But it does like kind of cut through, and then you trick off and go for like the flower ring, again, a game reference. And you get to the finish line where Yoshi's house is. There's so much. I'm a fucking breath detailing just a chunk of what is in this track. It is insane. I have no complaints. It's perfect. When you finish the race, you have like the victory jingle play, and it's a very upbeat song, which makes it all the more funny when you're playing with someone and they do really shit or you do really shit, and it's just playing that in the background. it's so good. It is fucking phenomenal. Just people who say this track is overhyped can fuck off. This gave us Birdo as well, keep in mind. Birdo came back alongside this track, and that was a crazy trailer. Seeing that in the direct, because the direct was dog shit. I remember watching it live for 40 minutes, and there was nothing I was interested in. Which it's weird because a direct is determined by your personal taste and interest in games, and you're looking for something really specific. And when you look at the Nintendo Directs, what they actually are, they're just game commercials, and they don't all apply to you. So I'm not saying that's objectively bad before someone cries. I just didn't care about anything until the Mario Kart DLC, and I just look at my screen and there's fucking Birdo there, driving on this crazy ass track, and to get to do that is crazy. Imagine telling me the start of 2022, before the Wii Sports Pass was announced last year, that in a fucking year's time, I would be racing on 48 new tracks as fucking Birdo. It's crazy. And also there's 5 new characters that I need to do a speculation video on. I've already done it. Now that we have specifics, I will make further predictions on that. Although my predictions aren't very spicy, I have pretty much the same as everyone else's. But I believe my reasoning's more sound than I've seen others be. But I digress. This is just a perfect track. It's going at the top of my list because it nails theming and just layout. I got nothing bad to say about it. I've got nothing else to say about it either. See, now we've got a Boomerang Cup. And this definitely isn't as good as the Fruit Cup. The Fruit Cup's only more standout track. Which, if I were to rank cups, I think the Fruit Cup's the best one in DLC. Followed by the Propeller Cup in Wave 2, I believe. That one was just really good. But this cup also has some good tracks. Again, everything is good here. Not that the waves before had anything bad. Everything is good here. But this is the first cup to have 2 city tracks, which is interesting. Again, I don't agree with it, but that's not going to harm the ranking of the tracks individually. We'll start with Bangkok Rush, coming in order again. Now, this was the tour track I was most excited for, so seeing it was pushed to Wave 4 was interesting. And it's good. It's very enjoyable. Again, I think my favourite is Amsterdam Drift. But it's still great, I think. And I think it does deserve to go up here in the great tracks. I'm not going to go for specifics. I'm really not. People were quite down on this track. I saw a lot of people were down on the track. It was because apparently it's missing some stuff. I don't know what the fuck they're on about. This is everything that I had seen in tour. But I was like, okay, yeah, this is what I'm excited for. Like the canoe section. The section where there's just so many different areas to go to. So many different paths you can take. And you get like a double box if you go like a further route. Like you go up the stairs where there's the trains, and then you go grab the double box. It's crazy. It's so fucking crazy. You even do that backwards in lap 3. It has some other highlights. Is the glider section, one of the best glider sections in the game. It's so huge, coming like the building statue thing. I don't know what the fuck it is. I don't know what it's called. This section also has like a market thing, and you can like go up on the stores like with Shy Guy Bazaar, although it's not as it only shows up once, and also it's not as major as Shy Guy Bazaars. But I find that cool. It kind of fucking annoys me how they don't the fruit store tracks on in the Fruit Cup. Oh, maybe there are fruit stand. Maybe there are like apple stands in the fruit cup. I think there's a marketplace in both tracks. I don't know what the drift track sells. I don't know. This is very important information. I was saying, oh yeah, the fucking glider thing. I keep getting sidetracked. The glider thing. There's like, if you go up ahead, there's like this field area that if you have a mushroom, you can shortcut through. You can even like trick off sides of the statue to help you with the shortcut. It's really cool. I like this track a lot. There's so many things going on. It's pretty great. Another highlight is what was I going to say? Oh yes, all the market stalls with the tents that you can trick off of, and they bounce around after leaping off the top of a garage area. Yeah, it's just a great city track. Surprisingly, not my favorite one, but it's definitely up there. One of the great ones. I don't think it reaches the best, but it's objectively a great track. Um, Now, Mario Circuit. This is why I'm not sure where I'm actually putting this. It's a better circuit track than the two we had previously in this DLC. It's probably the best circuit track in the game, and by extension, the franchise. Even though if you were to ask me what my thoughts on DS Mario Circuit before this, I'd be like, okay, it's mid as fuck. It sure is a Mario Circuit. And having played it, I played the original DS version recently. I stand by that. I don't think the original is good. It's difficult, I'll give it that much. The layout is difficult. It's quite detailed and stuff, which I think made it not enjoyable in DS because it's kind of fucking weird to race on. Whereas in a deluxe, it works much better. It's much more suitable layout, and because they try to make it overly complex for a Mario circuit, it becomes quite great in a remake here. Now, again, I still think Airship Fortress should have been a chosen track, but maybe I enjoy racing on this one more. I don't know. I really liked it, and it's why I time trialed quite a lot. Although I do like time trial the circuit tracks. It's weird. I like the circuit tracks. There's like the whole stigma that circuit tracks are bad, and I'm kind of in on it. But at the same time, I like the circuit tracks. I just think they're usually naturally inferior to the vast majority of tracks. Like the two circuit tracks here, at the bottom is solid, and I still like them. You know, I don't know why we have Toad Circuit, but I like Toad Circuit. I don't know why we have Mario Circuit in DS, but we have Mario Circuit. The music fucking slaps though. I'm very happy to have that remade, you know. And I don't know. I don't know where it goes because I really fucking like this one, and I thought I would. I At first I was disappointed because I learned they're not actually having like laps change and stuff. I thought that's what they would do. If they were to bring this back, and I said in my prediction video where I said, we'll either get Airship Fortress or we'll get Mario Circuit, and then maybe Luigi's Mansion, or maybe fucking Bowser's Castle, or some random shit. I did say they'll probably like change it so you can go in the castle, which would copy 3DS Mario Circuit's gimmick, but they added Toad Circuit instead of that, so that's on them. So basically, what I'm saying is they should have added 3DS Mario Circuit in the first place, and we could have had Airship Fortress. But no, this is really good. This is a really good track. Just a questionable pick, especially if it's the last DS track. Again, it might not be. There might be room for another DS track, which, if so, then Airship Fortress or Wave 6, baby. But I think I'm coping. I think this is the last one. I mean, you look at the 4DS tracks we got, they're all pretty good. They're all very good. My favourite being Shroom Ridge, 100%. But they're all quite questionable picks. Shroom makes sense. It's not a fan favorite, but it makes sense because it was the one DS track, Nitro track, that hadn't been remade. That wasn't a circuit track, wasn't a Bowser Castle, wasn't a Rainbow Road. After that, the only ones that haven't been remade were Mario Circuit, Figure 8 Circuit, Bowser Castle, and Rainbow Road. Themes that are in other stuff, which, when it comes to those, I don't think it's a necessity to remake those. And it's also why I don't think it's over now. The DLC and even Wii U 8 broke the trend of each game having retro tracks be tracks that have never been remade before. It's a very nice idea, and I get it. It's to give as many tracks a chance to show up as possible, but you run out of tracks. It's always good to see a track get remade for the first time in a long time. Sometimes that it just makes sense to have certain tracks keep showing up, like Waluigi Pinball, for example, which, again, is a track that I think is, like, pretty mediocre when you actually race on it. There's no shortcuts, there's no mushroom usage, and the pinballs aren't actually that incredible obstacles, but it's such a good theme, right? That it has to be considered a great track. Peach Gardens, I don't even know if that's a fan favorite. I don't know, because apparently it is, but at the same time, I thought it was considered mediocre by most. I think it's on, like, the low spectrum of the fan favorite tracks, like Luigi Mansion, which I'm happy we have Peach Gardens, especially since, like, it changed on the third lap. That's very creative. They changed it a lot for the better overall, I'd say. But yeah, it's all quite strange. It's quite a strange selection. Waluigi Pinball is strange in the sense that it's the one track we have that just repeats music, which doesn't bother me, but that was always kind of the thing with this game. It was like, oh, we don't reuse music. Well, now you do, you fuckers. So yeah, it's quirky. It's a quirky little thing. It's a quirky little selection, but a good one when you look at it. It's a good group of 4. It wouldn't have been the 4 I'd choose. But I'm happy with it. I'm happy with what we have. I think we all play well. DS Mario Circuit is just fucking crazy. I do think it's the best circuit, this version of it, in this game. It's not something I'd choose, but there's so much crazy stuff. Like, you can do, like, 2 semi-gap shortcuts, like post on channel. One is where you use a mushroom on this little bit of elevated off-road, and then, like, you can kind of hop over, like, the edge of this track around the moat where the castle is, and then you, like, go over a hedge. It's a very small thing, but it's really neat to pull off. And then you also have the forest section. I'm going to talk about the forest section. When you go through, like, the tunnel after, like, the fire shooting furnace, which is actually quite a good obstacle. First, they're unique because that's not in any other track. And secondly, they actually do, like, the fire actually fucking matters in this version of the track. They have good aim, I feel. Or at least wherever they shoot is usually actually gets in the way a lot of times. I'm sure the more I play it, the more I'm going to be able to avoid it. But I have gotten hit by it quite a few times. It's quite a hectic area. But yeah, you go for the tunnel after that, and you're in the forest area. And there's a cute fucking sleeping Wiggler. It's my Discord profile picture right now. I love them. They're precious. And then they wake up on lap 3 and just walk around the place. And I love it. It's such a fun little change. A little addition as kind of like a reference to mission mode. You have the wandering Wiggler going around a mushroom bridge. It was never on Mario Circuit, but I like this little guy in the forest. They're not much of an obstacle. They kind of jump scare when you go around the corner and there's just a fucking Wiggler coming down the road on lap 3. But otherwise, they're inconsequential. But I like them. They're fucking adorable, and they add charm to the track. The only thing I would say is I maybe make it like an angry Wiggler. Like we disturbed it from its sleep, so now it's fucking pissed. And it runs around faster. That's the only thing I'd change with it. But it's great. And I also like the new shortcuts where you cut through the grass. you're cutting between like the trees and stuff, and there's two ways you do it. The second one, depending on how you angle it, you can actually jump over this little gap, and then you can jump over the fences on the next section. And it's a crazy little shortcut. Again, two gap cuts, question mark. For a Mario circuit track, I've got to respect it for that. There's so much off-road stuff that it's got a lot of obstacles. It's got a complex layout. I like the theming. I like the music. I think it's a very charming track graphically, or visually, I should say. But I don't have much. I don't have anything negative to say about it other than it being a questionable track. I think it goes up here. I think it goes near Waluigi Pinball. I think it's better to race on than Waluigi Pinball because it has more shortcut stuff going on. I'm gonna put it above Waluigi Pinball. Fuck it. Fuck it. It's going up there. I think it deserves to be in the great tier. I really do. It's weird because I think Airship Fortress is like in my best tier when I compare this to the tracks and all the other games. The tier list for this one's separate because it's DLC, obviously. It wasn't the best, but yeah, I don't know. It's sad to know of Airship Fortress, but I'm trying not to blame a specific track. And besides, if we look at what has the fan favorite track slot, it's Waluigi Pinball, and I think Airship Fortress. I was always more of an Airship Fortress guy. So, actually, it's Waluigi Pinball's fault when you're looking at it. But yeah, I really do think Waluigi Pinball, out of the four we have in the DLC, is my least favorite to race on, which is really weird. It's weird because I do love the theme, and I think it's a great track. But yeah, I am going to put Mario Circuit above it. That was a fucking long discussion about that track. Next we have Waluigi Stadium. This is I have a couple complaints about this track. But firstly, positives. I think it's one of the best looking tracks in the entire franchise. It looks really good in like the trailers are shown. In game, it's not as great. I do find a lot of people mistake the texture for wood, like polished wood, but it's just like wet mud. I can see it's wet mud, and I think it looks good. But yeah, I get how it can be quite weird. Yeah, it's quite realistic, which again I don't mind that style. But again, I do prefer the cartooniness of the typical graphics in the Rouge Scrolls Pass, whereas this one has quite detailed mud textures. I do like how the mud splats are around the Piranha Plant cutouts, though I think that's quite a nice detail. What I don't like about the cutouts, though, is that there's literally only one that functions as an actual obstacle. There are two that just shoot upwards. And I was always wondering, why is that a change? What the fuck does that actually do? And me and Erin were thinking, oh, you have these little new platform things with a glider on it. Maybe the fronts sticking out will block you when you're gliding. The glider section is on the other side of the fucking track. So it does nothing. They're just not obstacles. The only thing that gets in the way is the pipe itself when I try to go through the half pipe. It's not an obstacle anymore. And I don't know why. We made it easier because there's half pipes going along that section. So you can essentially just skip the piranha plants. Now we only have one piranha plant sticking out. Even though the whole reason it was a challenging short section, was because you had them coming from both sides. I just don't get the decision. It's not a big issue, but I think it massively damages a very iconic obstacle of the track. And I'm usually not one of these people who are like, oh, they changed the track from how it's supposed to be. Because I think every other change is phenomenal. I think the half-pipe stuff is still a great addition to this track, especially in Deluxe, where half-pipes are more of a rarity and they're more nuanced here. And there's a lot of shortcut stuff. I know there's like a Wii half-pipe shortcut thing that is also in this one. I'm not sure what that specifically entails. But there's like a whole new one where you jump over like a fucking corner. Which I can't even describe. It's so crazy. Which wasn't even in Double Dash. It wasn't even Wii. It's just crazy to see it in 8 Deluxe. I need to learn how to do that one. So yeah, I quite like it. Obviously, it's a good layout. I like all the ramps to trick off. It's a good theme. I like the stadium theme, even though we have it with Wario Stadium. Which is the thing. Because we have Wario Stadium, I was always more Wario Stadium guy. Same with like DK Pass, DK Summit. I was more Wario Stadium guy. But again, I think I prefer Waluigi Stadium just for the half-pipe stuff, you know. I think it just makes the tracks a lot very standout. And I'd say this looks better than Wario Stadium. Even though I am more a Wario guy. It's weird. What else is there? The new platforms are great because you need to use the half-pipe to land on them, and I think that's just very creative. I like the one that has the giant anti-grav spinners, like they're much bigger than the typical ones, and it ends with a glider, which is just cool. So yeah, overall I'm positive on this. I just have a small issue with the piranha plants. That is all. It's great to finally have a Double Dash track. It also had a Double Dash character in Birdo this wave, so it's cool. This isn't my fan favorite Double Dash track though. This isn't one I would have initially picked. However, I do think it's a right choice because of the half pipe focus. But because we already had Wario Stadium, I wouldn't have picked this one. Which is so fucking weird because you have the absolute lunatics who want N64 Wario Stadium, even though it's dog shit. They want it in the game purely because, oh, it's the one N64 track that's never been remade. For good reason, for one. And for two, save that for the next game, you know. And I also think Wario Coliseum, for that matter, is being saved from Mario Kart 9. Again, I feel this was an optimal opportunity to finally bring Wario Coliseum back as a big main track of a wave. But I do think Waluigi Stadium, in terms of playability, I think is more suitable for this game. And I do prefer Waluigi Stadium to Wario Coliseum. But I do want to see a Wario Coliseum remake, even though I don't think the original was actually fun to race on. It just drags out in Double Dash. But I do like the Coliseum theme. As for where I'd rank Waluigi Stadium, probably a high grade tier. I'm not quite sure where the fuck did this come from? At the top here? I think we put it up here behind Maple Drew above Bangkok Rush. Which I think also our final track, Singapore Speedway, is going to go up near these three, above Sydney Sprint, behind Bangkok Rush probably. But I don't know, these two are kind of equal. I could completely swap my opinion on Singapore and Bangkok. They're both really good. Singapore, there's just so much going on. Again, there's so much to cover. They're not going to cover it all. I like the Chinatown section. I like how it changes the music. The music's great in this one. Visually, it's phenomenal. I like the conveyor belt sections. I like all the sections. It's so good. There's so much charm to it as well, like with the Goombas and the floaties on the top of the hotel thing with the pool. There's just so much crazy stuff going on. I love the neon light beaming going on. It's just a really cool track, and I think it just deserves to be in great tier. Again, the city tracks are phenomenal in this wave. But yeah, I've gone nearly an hour here. And I think I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm going to show the rankings here. We got 3 additions to the best tier here, which includes our first city track, making it to the best tier. Again, I might adjust this over the waves, which is why I'm deciding not to actually wait until the end of the year for it, because I'll just adjust as time goes on. You got the great tracks. And solid tracks. And again, I put nothing in solid here. And, you know, I'm questioning whether Blue Lake should be in solid. I just fucking love this DLC. There's hard to do a tier list on it when I think everything is pretty close together in terms of tier rankings. But I do try to put it in order, so if this is like a numbered list, then look at it like that. But yes, that is the video. I'm going to see you in the next one, I guess. I don't know what I'm doing. Throwing more Mario Kart content because it's the best fucking game of all time. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.